We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other mints. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening and welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum start of another week, and it's good evening to George, to Darren, to Barry, to Pablo, to Alan, to Spenny, to Kevin, and you at home. And a match to get our teeth into, George, at long last. The Premier League season's kicked off. Newcastle United winning by a goal to nil, 3 points in the bag. And on to the next one. But we're going to spend the first half hour just looking back at the game at the weekend and getting everyone's collective views. Mixed bag of opinions on social media. No surprise there. But I think most of us can probably accept that was a below-par performance by Newcastle United, who probably count themselves lucky to walk away with 3 points, especially playing with 10 men.
Absolutely. But the big thing for me was that until the Shaw incident, it was Southampton's game. They were giving them a football lesson. The only thing that was pretty obvious to me, and must have been to others, was that Southampton are trying to play out of the back like they did in the Championship. Well, it'll get them relegated, because the number of times, even before we scored and we weren't playing well, that Isaac and Gordon and even Murphy got very close to the ball when the goalkeeper was trying to clear it. And might well have scored long before we did. It didn't happen until Joe Linton got the goal. But the first 20 minutes was Southampton. They're giving us a football lesson. They played the game at their pace, and we allowed them to. We didn't disrupt them in any way. And having last week bleated on all week that I wanted to see the two youngsters at fullback, and the first 20 minutes they were awful. Absolutely awful. But there was one spell in the first half. Trippier went out running down the line, supposedly warming up. He wasn't warming up. He was talking to Livramento and telling him, do this, do that, do the other. You could see that from where I was sitting. So it was pretty awful first 20 minutes. The positives, the positives were that they never give up. That is the big positive, because even then they were still trying the hardest. You could see that, they were responding to Bruno as captain. You could see that as well. But we just weren't in the game until that incident. Then when we had to collect ourselves as 10 men, we start to see the steel that's in the team, and that's got to be a big plus. The way they hung on and slowly but surely, young Hall got into his role as fullback, and thank God he did, because that clearance he made off the line in the second half, had to be seen to be believed. But it would never have happened unless he'd had his defensive brain on to know where he should be at the right time. What else? Southampton really give themselves problem. They're trying to walk the ball into the net instead of having a strike, which was all in our favour. Nick Pope was outstanding, and saw really why we missed him last year. He made some colossal saves, absolutely colossal. 2 from our former player, of course, that in normal time would have been in the top corner, but there was no way Pope was going to let that happen. And the Shaw incident, well, he's supposed to be a professional. He knows if they get close to each other like they did, that somebody's going to take advantage. And of course, the Southampton player took full advantage. You know, the way he went down, he looked like he'd been hit with a sledgehammer. Well, where was the blood? Where was the injury? There was nothing wrong with him. He should have walked as well for diving, but because the referee was having such a mare, he wouldn't do that. That's the other side of it. Is I keep hearing from pundits on the television that our pool of referees are getting better and better. Oh my God, worse! They're getting worse. Some of the decisions on Saturday were just unbelievable, and there was never any chance we were going to get anything out of him. But he fell for that, and so did the VAR. But Shah should know that getting close like that, he was inevitably going to be the loser. So he let himself down as well as his team. Other things, well, can only praise the front line for their support of the defence when we had 10 men. Isaac, Gordon, Barnes when he came on, and Murphy when he was on. They ran their legs off defensively towards the end, and that side of it augurs well for our resilience in this season. But in terms of a starting match, it couldn't have been worse. It couldn't have been worse, and yeah, it's so disappointing that it's hard to put into words. But there were some other bright spots. I like Lloyd Kelly when he came on. He looked a real class performer to me in the short time he was on the field. Able to stand up to tricky wingers with their pace and not get caught. Ball watching. He watching their feet. He was watching the ball all the time. And some of the tackles he made were really good, really clever in some ways. Dan Burn was immense. Never give up. Always there at the right moment, and harrying the others on, egging the others on. You know, marshal them at the back around Pope. No surprise to me when they got in the tunnel that he had to go at the Southampton player apparently. But no, it in lots of ways so disappointing because of the way it panned out. But big sigh of relief because they hung on to it and showed their mettle. And once again, a player I've over the years before when he first came, I castigated. He was so bad. He was the man of the match on Saturday. That's Joe Linton. Front, back, he was everywhere. And it gets to the stage, you know, then opposition players know that when Joe Linton's going to tackle you, you back off. And as soon as they see him coming, you know he's going to win the ball because they're half-hearted, because they know they're going to get a crunch. So Joe Linton was the star man for me, not just because he scored, but because his contribution at the front and at the back throughout the game was immense. Isaac as well worked his socks off and defensively as well as. I just wish one or two of the loose balls that got punted forward had fallen to him instead of to some of the slower guys like Bruno and others who went off on runs and just didn't have the legs. If it had gone to Isaac, we could easily have had another goal, but it didn't happen like that. So, you know, it not the best way we wanted to start. 3 points are important, especially where everybody else was getting off to a flyer. There's still some work to do, a lot of work to do. And we're now in a position where I don't know if they're appealing Shaw's winner or whether they're going to let it stand. But whichever way it is, if they don't, then he's got a long ban coming, hasn't he? So
yeah, three match ban, and Newcastle don't have a leg to stand on. Appealing that, I'm afraid.
Well,
they don't have a leg to stand on, George.
Well, anyway, if it's a 3-match ban, and that makes the centre-back position even more crucially poignant. However, having seen Lloyd Kelly, I think he could slot in straight away. But disappointing match in some ways, but revealed lots of spirit, lots of hard work from a number of people. But one or two, hugely disappointing things, and the fact that we just weren't in it. In fact, going down to 10 men hurt them more than it hurt us, in my view. But never mind. So we got 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points in the bag. I'm going to go to Kevin next because Kevin's only with us for half an hour, and I want Kevin to have a good say on the match. So, Kev, I know you've got a bit of air traffic flying over you, so we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, look, I'm happy. 3 points in the bag. The most important thing for me is winning games when you're playing badly is a good habit to get into. Playing badly is not a good habit to get into, but winning when you're playing badly is. You're on mute yourself. I unmuted you, and now you've muted yourself.
Sorry, man. It's the whole Jose Mourinho quote. You can always win a game 1-0, and that's what we done. It doesn't matter how you go about it, how pretty it looks, all the rest of it. And George was right in terms of the first 20-odd minutes. Wasn't great. There was a lack of intensity. First home game of the season, you expect a little bit more, especially against, no disrespect to Southampton, promoted side. So you expect to get after them a little bit, be in the face. But that's what they did to us. I thought they were clever in trying to settle our flow of play, the grab, the pull, the kick, the done whatever. They can't break the play over the course of pretty much the whole game. And I thought they were there to get a point, essentially, if we had 11v11. I thought that was their game plan. That was their tactic. And agree with George. I thought Joe Lynn was man of the match. I thought he carried the whole team throughout the game. And I felt sorry for him because he had nobody around him to really do the same thing with him. Because he just led it. He was like the true leader on the field Saturday. Bruno was the captain. Yes, Dan Burn was winning everything that they put in the box. Nick Pope made a couple of good saves, but at the same time, as a driving force in that midfield, he held all that. He held the ship together to really keep us in the game, and got the winner, which was a fabulous finish. Even though it was from 8 yards out, whatever it was a lovely touch, and it was a composed finish. But really, what I was going to talk about was I'm not going into the red card because I think it was silly. I think, and I agree. I just think it was just silly all the way around, from the foul in the middle of the park to the ending up of the red card. It was just unprofessional all the way around, to be perfectly frank. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the defending in and around the box, and that's a 10 versus 11 numbers down type of practice, phase of play, that what we call in as coaching world, phases of play, defending in and around the box. We forced Southampton wide, we forced them to crosses, and we won everything. Well, but 2 when Nick Pope made them comfortable saves, but only 2 opportunities. Yes, Hall cleared one off the line, Livramento blocked one with his knee, and it went wide. But that's having a solid structure defensively to get around the ball quickly in a reaction time to get there and to smother them, essentially. Not all as 9-10 players, it's like 3 or 4 to get in the way, and that's what we've done very, very well. So I think you said, whoever said it last night on the professionals, it was just, I think it was you, Steve, who said it was very well drilled and very well done by Eddie Howe and his staff to recognise what we had to do. Force them wide, just allow them to have crosses in the box, because we had bigger players than them. They didn't play with a centre forward. They had Diaz and they had Armstrong drifting wide, and they played in between the lines to try and run in beyond us. And they didn't play with a centre forward. So it was easy for us to defend within the 18-yard line. And that was playing in our hands. The only disappointing thing from tactically really was not that I'm bashing on Isak or whatever, but I just thought he was he ran himself into the ground as he always does. Now to put the new lad on, just for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to be that point of an attack to relieve some pressure. Isak wasn't doing that. It was coming back. And that's just nature of the game. That's just how it was playing out. But I would have put him on because he's a different type of player to what Alex Isak is. And if he can hold the ball, because I was screaming at the TV to say, just get the ball up in their part of their third, and their defensive third. Can we keep it there, just to relieve a little bit of pressure for that? What that pressure was going to look like, who knows? Because it never happened. But if we could get 20 yards further up the pitch just to keep the ball for 5 minutes, just to relieve some pressure from us. But again, that didn't happen. Like I said, the work rate was unreal, and I was, we had a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome moment. I did where think, here we go. We're going to just drop in as a low block, and we'll just see what's going to play out for the next hour, and it didn't happen. And I was by the end of it, it was a bit of a relief because we've seen the game out, we've seen the game through with a lot of what we want from a team is just hard work and graft and get 3 points on the board. Again, look, I think Mitch said it last night. Look, when you revert back, you'll never know how the game played out. We'll just see that we've got 3 points on the board at the end of the day, So that's that's the most important thing, in my opinion. So, a win's a win in the Premier League. Doesn't matter who it's against. You could win 1-0, you could win 10-0. You still only get 3 points, and that's what it's all about, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Darren, we'll come to you next, mate. A 1-0 win. On this channel these days is Darren negativity, so I doubt you can get any more negative than you normally are about that performance.
No, it's the first, before the sending off, I don't know, I think that we've done nothing really, like George said. It was nothing good. Gordon didn't do much, and Murphy was. We need a right side of play out because Murphy's he gets a decent team, well, not a decent team, but a better competition he's playing against. He's not good enough. Yes, as a sub, he might come up and do better. But for the third, till he got sent off, we've done nothing great. Was nothing going. But when he got sent off, I've never heard a louder cheer when their Diaz got tackled off Longstaff. It broke shivers down my spine. The loud whistles, I've never heard no like that in a long time. I think he knew because he was laughing. He basically won't know he's cheated. He's trying to cheat. Graham Souness said on TalkSport today, Diaz is cheating. So he said, so it's good to say, but people say he's called him to cheat out what he is. Yes, Shaw's got a leg to stand on. Well, my view was, he moved his head. Yes, he didn't touch him, but it's not going to get overturned because it gets overturned. The referee goes, well, why is that? They're not backing up on their own officials, are they? So, three game ban. That means Crafton okay. I thought Crafton okay when he come on, mind you.
Yeah.
I thought you was faultless. But the three, like Joe Litton, but he must have had to switch him because he worked his socks off up and down the pitch, tackles in, header and winning the headers. I felt sorry for Lewis Hall. He's done okay, but then he went downhill. He was back in the ball in his place. They let he scored. So Nick Pope only had two real saves after that, but he wasn't really tested. But we've got 3 points. That's the most important bit. It's going to happen, unfortunately, at St James Park. Teams are going to come back and either pass the ball about and sit back or play a dirty game. So we've got to accept that. But you need to be a bit more like attitude, you know what I mean, from the start, or what a bit flat the players was, and hopefully we'll improve, which we will. But not both going to be a hard game, but I think we'll do good next weekend, I hope.
All right, Barry, Your thoughts on the result and the performance?
I think it was one of those games, wasn't it? We had loads of those games last season where we struggled. We didn't play at the form, and we got punished for it. How many times did we get beat when we played like that? I mean, you look at the positive that we got the 3 points. For me, the highlights of the game was watching Big Dan Burn get stuck in at half time going down the tunnel. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him. He seemed to terrify about 6 of Southampton's players who were like flattened against the wall when he got stuck into somebody in the middle of the tunnel. And I quite enjoyed watching that stage because I thought it was a little bit of payback. It's one of those things. I mean, the amount of people who've had a go at Gordon, they've had a go at Isaac, they couldn't. When we've got 11 players on the pitch, they're going to be class. They had to do a completely different job because we were down to 10 men. You can't judge them on that. We seem to be having a go at people for the sake of having a go yesterday. And you just think, well, we still won the game. Did we deserve to win the game? Probably not. Southampton had some really good chances. I honestly think if it was Adam Armstrong with a couple of those chances against anybody but Newcastle, he probably would have put them in the back of the net rather than over the bar. I think I totally agree with George. I think Kelly looked good when he came on. Kraft had a good game. Big Dan was him and Joe Linton were the 2 stars of the day. But that's the type of game it was. We've just got to pick up and move on. I was really interested by the Joe Linton and the Bruno interviews that were put out afterwards. And Bruno admitted himself he's nowhere near fit. He's nowhere near match fit. And you could see it in some of the play that you just think it's going to take them a few games to get up to speed, maybe. And hopefully with Tonali coming back in the not too distant future, we'll only improve again. I thought Longstaff had a decent game. It was nice to see, and obviously, like Darren said, getting probably the biggest cheer of the day, which makes a change from him getting booed the poor sod. But yeah, it just rolls on to Bournemouth, doesn't it? At the end of the day, we've got 3 points. We weren't on form. But it's one of those things. Last season, we may well have been beaten in that sort of a game. So fingers crossed for the next one.
Yeah, that's what I said. That 3 points could be a very important 3 points. And yeah, we might look back on that and say that was the 3 points that got us into the European Champion League places. So wait to see. Pablo, good to have you back. Give us your views on the result and the performance of the weekend.
Kind of mixed, really, probably like everyone else. Any football team that goes down to 10 men that comes away with a result, you've got to applaud that. And the manner that we did it, I mean, we were under the cosh. I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch the game live. I was at work, so I've had to kind of catch it up after. So the disappointment, so obviously the positives are we came through a game with 10 men. My negatives are the fact that without micro investigating it, it was Southampton, for Christ's sake. If that had been any other team, I mean, they come up third from the Championship. If it had been another team on another day, we'd have probably fallen on the sword, I think. But you can only beat what's in front of you. Standout performances, you've all said it. I'll just be rehashing it. Joe Linton was absolutely fantastic. He was literally like next level. I was a bit disappointed with the pace of the game in the first half an hour. So if we look at 11v11, we were way off the pace. And as a simplistic fan, who doesn't know much about tactics and whatnot, first game of the season, I want to see my football team come out and fly around like rockets. That kind of mentality. And for me, it looked like we were playing our last game of the season, and Southampton were playing their first game of the season. We looked a yard or two off it, and there was we couldn't retain the ball. We didn't know what to do with it. We were all over the shop. That being said, sending off when Eddie got him in at half time, that was a masterclass because do you know what I mean? We retained what we had. We looked like we knew what we were up against. I mean, the boys mentioned it earlier. We were forcing them out wide. Probably Kev will tell you more standard stuff when you think about it, but we actually executed it. I think we had Lady Luck on our side as well. If you were there, I'm sick of this guy being called Diaz. His name is Ben Brereton. He's only started calling himself Diaz because his mum went on holiday to Chile once, and all of a sudden he's got a Chilean grandfather. So he's called Ben Brereton. So that's why I'm going to call him Ben. But no,
Good knowledge, that.
I won't say on here what I want to call him.
Well, listen, I remember last season I was on it, Steve, when we were lacking firepower. I think it was last January, Steve. I was like, that lad from Blackburn, we should nick him. The little bugger. I wish we had nicked him now. But no, he was a bit of a thorn in the side, and he give us something kind of new to look at or come up against, because you're going to come up against, players like that from the Championship. The Wiley, they've had to do it. They're going to pull everything all year round. Teams like Ipswich are going to cause problems. Physical teams, nuisance teams. But you know what? We come through it. We weren't particularly at the races. But I tell you what a finish from Joe Linton. Like, what a finish. When that guy come, if that ball had fallen to him in season 1, it'd have ended up in the middle of Tyne.
Yeah.
What a cool finish. And I feel that it shows how far he's come along as a player. And we rely on him heavily. But yeah, overall pleased. Only been nicky picky about the performance, which we all can see. It doesn't take a genius to work that out. But hopefully we'll gather momentum, and we go again.
Alan, over to you, mate.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more with all the lads had said. I can only put little points to the fact that I know how I felt when Liverpool beat with 2-1 with 10 men. So I'm absolutely over the moon that we've won the game. Absolutely. All the points are made. I think the Shaw sending off is basically, it's a red because of the rules. But really what we're advocating is falling down and simulation, aren't we? Because we're actually encouraging simulation, and the rules need changing if that's the case. But unfortunately, Shaw fell for it. He moved his head. He shouldn't have done it, and we haven't got a leg to stand on, lads. As much as we know, I mean, I'm expecting Pablo Ben to be on the next plane for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Meet Kevin. Get an Oscar for that acting performance was like Tom Cruise would have been proud of that. But yeah, basically, I'm absolutely over the moon at we're coming through that with steel and keeping ahead. I must admit, I'm desperate for it to get some new signs, to get some impetus, because that was a flat performance, lads. Southampton were the better team, and it shows. I mean, Craig Hope had a good article in the paper about has the steam run out of our club because of the players were still going to the club. But I would just say to that article in the Daily Mail is it's all about PSR, lads. We cannot change the team quick enough. We're in a straitjacket. So the likes of Murphy, Longstaff, who are great professionals, great pros, they're still here, and they will be for a while. But overall, pleased, over the moon at it. Roll on Bournemouth. We're due a result there, lads. Then we'll find out where we are. Tonali's back. He'll be back against Nottingham Forest. And let's one little spin about it, lads. Shaw was a doubt for the game, so now he's got time to rest up and get 100% fit. That's just a little sideshow. He was doubt with his ankle before the game, so I'm all positive. That's it. 37 wins, lads, and we're there. We're home. 37 more wins, and we're there. Got to keep it going. It can only get better. It was a poor performance. And just one side note, Steve, is Man United, I saw the game and they were absolutely awful. Win with 3 minutes to go, and yet they're going to win the league. And they were really awful. Where we're a bit doom and gloom that our players aren't gelling. They win 1-0 and play awful, and yet they're going to win the league. So I'll leave you with that, lads.
I tell you, I'm glad somebody else thinks Man United were awful, because I've heard people waxing lyrical about Man United. They were terrible. They were terrible.
Awful.
Terrible.
I've heard people saying they were great.
I was falling asleep watching them.
And it wasn't just Melly. Spenny, give us your views on the match at the weekend.
What's Ben?
I want to start off by saying a thing what I would never ever thought I would say again. What a great finish by Joe Linton. Because we know what he went through and all the chances he missed. Now he's turned that corner in the goal scoring bit now. She's getting there. For me, the match, yes, I agree with the lads. Southampton controlled the game, really. We were just defending most of the game because of the send-off. Even before the sending off, we were like the second team, really. Walker Peters was the best man on the pitch, the best player on the pitch for me. He dictated the game for Southampton, totally. And Lewis Hall, people are saying he had a bad game. I thought he had a great game, Lewis Hall. I thought he did okay. Longstaff was tremendous as well for me. Turned that corner as well. He's just turned into a centre midfielder more than an attacking midfielder now, getting them tackles in, getting the ball and passing. His passing's a lot better than he was last season. The sending off, if you watch it slowly, that long-headed bearded twat.
Benjamin.
I don't know what to call him now. He went for the head clash before Sharp. He went there like that, and Sharp followed the head. If you're going to headbutt somebody, you put him on the ground and then kick him in the face and then he's nuts, don't you? You should have maybe done that after he got the red card. But that's football. But Shah was to blame. He's done it a few times, actually. He's gone with his head when he's argued with someone. And a lot of players do that. I don't understand why players do that. Lead with the head when they're arguing with someone. If you're going to argue with someone, you just stand there, stand your ground and tell them what to do. And if they come for you, just twat them. But for me, if we win 37 more games like that, I'll be well happy because we'll win the league.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the performance. It matters what about the result in the end of the day. Port was first class, like George said. For me, I was a bit worried at the end when he got injured a bit, when he kicked the ball out. He was limping about. So hopefully
there was no wrong with him. He was just wasting time.
Did you ask him like that?
You know, I watched it. There was no wrong with him.
You're right.
You're
right, Derek.
Anyway,
that's
my
game
point. Before we get to the adverts, because Darren's going to be next, can we? That's all about the match.
I'm just saying, Sterling. I'm just responding after your comment. You know what I mean?
Gotta say, I agree with Benny. I mean, for me, the standouts were certainly Dan Byrne, Sean Longstaff, and Joe Linton, 3-star performers. Get where you're coming on, Lewis Hall. Unfortunately for Lewis Hall, he didn't get a great deal of support from Anthony Gordon. I thought Anthony Gordon was below his best standards, and I think that showed.
Sorry, Steve, interrupting, but my argument with Anthony Gordon is you got to think about he's only had one game all summer.
Exactly, and that was the point I was going to make. And Anthony Gordon's had a full summer where he's been training all the way through the summer. He's had he's never had a rest. He played the previous summer all the way through. Then he played a full season, Champions League, etc. He's basically not had a rest, and then he's not had a game. A full set of games and a full set of fixtures. He's obviously going to be below par. But Lewis Hall, unfortunately, on 3 or 4 different occasions, he basically misplaced passes, balls hitting off the wrong part of his leg, and he was running hard to make up for his mistakes. But his clearance off the line was every bit as important as Joe Linton's goal, and that in essence really makes up for all the mistakes that he made on the day, and he learned from it. I also feel for Lewis Hall because he played the best part of the pre-season in midfield, and then he's having to play at fullback. So it was difficult for him. But before we go to the ads, lots of people mentioning it. Craig Hope is reporting that Bruno has now officially been made the captain, Trippier as vice captain, and Jamal Lascelles stays as club captain. So that's official. And of course, Newcastle's under-21s take on Sunderland's under-21s tonight, with Kieran Trippier and Matt Targett both playing a part in tonight's game, along with Sanusi. So it should be worth watching. You can watch that on Newcastle United's official app if you've got that tonight. Okay, we'll have a quick break for the ads. Then we'll start talking about the transfer that might be or might not be. Mark Gahey, do the lads think that should be now over and we should walk away, or should we push forward and try and get that deal over the line?
A big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. You can find their website at skipsandbins.com. Contact us, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners in 2024. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts. You can find them at www.media-arts.co.uk. And don't forget, we are a podcast. You can find us on iTunes or Spotify or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel grow, then hit the like button, the little thumb underneath the video, click share and share to your social media, or join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to take out a one-off payment membership, go to nufcmatters.com and hit membership. And for a £25 fee, you get a scarf, a cup, a pen, and a membership card. You can also put a smartphone over the top of this QR code. It'll take you straight there. And don't forget, we also help the food bank on this channel. nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk is a website where you can make a virtual donation today.
And as you all know, we are helping Dementia Matters throughout this year, and there is a free event on at the 3 Mile Inn in Gosforth. It's Sunday the 1st of September, 11 till 2. Take your family and friends. There's plenty to do for the family. It is free entry. Obviously, they'll be doing raffles and stuff like that for Dementia Matters up there, so get yourself along to that. And you will have seen us promoting the fanzine. It is subscription is now available on the website. I've stuck the link in the chat. There's quite a few of the lads who are on the platform will be writing articles for the fanzine. First one goes out on the 1st of October, and the subscription is 20 quid. That gets you 4 issues in the season. Just go to newcastlelegends.com and hit shop, and you can buy your copies on there. We are working on a deal with the back page. Hopefully you'll be able to pick up a copy in there. If you don't want to subscribe for 3 quid each, I'm just going to sort that out with the back page. But we're only going to print 200 copies. We've already had 15 people subscribe, so that means there's only going to be 185 available. All proceeds from this fanzine will be going to Dementia Matters. Nobody's taking anything out of it. We are putting 100% profit into the charity, as are the Long Sands, who are back together. And those of you who love the theme tunes of our various programs throughout the week have been asking for the Long Sands. Will they be getting back together? When are they getting back together? They're not getting back together full time, but they've agreed full band to get together on Saturday, January the 4th next year. And again, all proceeds going to Dementia Matters. That'll be at the Cluny in Newcastle. 250 tickets available for that gig, and 72 sold already. So you can get your tickets from newcastlelegends.com for that, or you can go direct to the Cluny and you can buy from their box office. Okay, George, this transfer been going on and on and on. We were speaking about it on Friday. Radio silence today, really, on this. Some news reporters saying that Newcastle United bid is still on the table and hasn't been rejected. Other people saying the deal's dead in the water. Not sure where we are with this, George, to be honest. But you know, have we hit the asking price? And you know, or are we still messing around and saying 60 million plus 5 million odd-ons? I mean, where do you stand on this? I watched the lad yesterday, and it's quite ironic because, you know, obviously Fabian Shaw gets sent off. Alan Shearer on Match of the Day says, well, that's just added an extra £5 million on Gahey's fee because now we've got desperation measures. We need a centre-half ASAP because Shaw's out for 3 games. Then we watched Gahey yesterday, and he probably took 10 million off his price tag. So it's been a strange weekend with this, but it's not dead in the water, George. It doesn't seem to be dead in the water anyway.
Well, as a Newcastle fan, I wish it was, because the the Crystal Palace chairman has milked every ounce out of this. He's leaked to the press every detail of it. This is not something that Newcastle do. You know, we're not used to that now. But he has made sure, Parish has made sure that the press know every word. And of course, he does with everything else he does. He leaks all the news from the Premier League that gets leaked comes from him, because he's licking the boots to the top six, isn't he? He wants to be in their club, not in our club. So I wish it was dead in the water, because what will happen is, as we saw yesterday, what a bad game he had. A couple more games like that by January, he'll only be worth about 30. And I wouldn't take him then either, because they'll have the same trouble with him as they had with Wilfred Zaha. They kept Wilfred Zaha off the table time and time again until he got sick. So he saw out his contract, and in the end, they got absolutely nothing for him. And that will happen with Gay as well. So I wish we were out of it. I wish it was dead in the water. But I have a feeling, added to the complicated things, that's what happened to Shaw at the weekend, and how strongly, apparently, our management think about them and want them and so on, that it might well suddenly blossom again. But I wish we would just turn our backs and go elsewhere. There's plenty available both on the continent, both in Italy, Germany, who would be available to us at similar fees, if not less fees, than him. There's the Italian, there's a German worth about 40 million, and there's the Italian about the same, who are equally as good, in my opinion, would step in the right age group. However, my personal feelings were tempered on Saturday when I saw Lloyd Kelly. I'm not sure that Lloyd Kelly couldn't step in there, because I was deceived at his physicality. I didn't realise he was quite as tall and as physical as he is. And I think he could step into Shaw's boots straight away. So he might well save a lot of money in the long run and turn out to be a fantastic signing. But in terms of Gahey, I wish it was over. I wish it was gone. And I wish Newcastle United had nothing more to do with it, because we need to show people like Steve Parish that if you stick a premium on just because it's Newcastle United, then you're going to get your fingers burned. It can't work, and that would be the end of it for me. But I suspect our management think enough of them to hang them on. As I said to the lads before we started, there's two prices to look at. There's the price that we value, we think of Gahey himself, but then there's the value to him in the team, as a team player. Would he make our team a better team? And that's always worth a premium when you're buying players, in my view. But whether he's worth that premium remains to be seen. But I wish we weren't involved in it. I wish it was over and we had turned our backs on it, because Parish has had enough publicity out of it, because it's all him. We need to do something for ourselves and just let them see that we're not going to be blackmailed in the way in which they have.
Darren, thoughts on the Gahey situation? It's been interesting this last week since we did a show.
I can't agree with George. I'd walk away, gone for somebody else. Get somebody cheap, and we need two players to finish the season off completely. Right winger and a centre half, badly, because I know we've got the kid from
Carry on, Darren.
That's right. Again, when it's 22, to be fair. I know we've got the kid from Bournemouth. What do you call the kid from Bournemouth?
Lloyd Kelly.
He's a left centre half, so anyhow, like he's right-sided on the right side, then like Shaw. He wants the right-footed centre half, so Lloyd Kelly can only play left back or centre half, left side centre half. So I know he can come in cover, but Howe wants the right side of centre half anyway, and we need a right winger. Walk away from Gahey and gang for somebody else, but it's always going to happen. Newcastle United, all these probably top players are always going to get Newcastle tax on, because of how they know the risks from the world and they're going to add money onto us. It happened to Man City, Chelsea. When they had the money, they went through it. People putting the prices up. It just all clubs have done it. It was really accepted and just need to win with it, but doing it conned.
All right, Barry, thoughts on this deal?
I agree with George. I think for me, the whole thing with PIF, they've done so well in some of the other transfers where they don't take any crap off anybody. They just get on with it. They make an offer. If you don't like the offer, the player doesn't come. They look to have done completely the opposite with this guy. It's like, we'll bid this price. No, we'll go back with another bid. No, we'll go back with another bid. Just walk away. I strongly believe the guy's not worth 70 million, Steve. He's not that good, as was proved at the weekend. Not when you look at some of the players like we talked about before the show who were worth 30 or 40 million, which would give us the money to buy a right winger for a hell of a lot of money and a defender as well. Personally, I'd love to see the guy from Barca come in, this Christensen who used to play for Chelsea. I think he looks a class player. He can play right the way across the back. Barca are absolutely desperate for money again.
But he's 30. Is he 30 odd, Barry? Though that's what you
28.
No,
28, Darren. But he's only going to cost us 25, 30 million.
He's in prime.
And it's he's got Premier League experience. He would slot straight in the team. But then Spenny mentioned a decent. I'll not spoil his thunder, but mentioned a decent option before as well. There's better players. If Crystal Palace are going to mess around like this, just walk away. It's making us look naff, and we're better than that. We're not supposed to be doing that anymore. I like the kid. I think George is right. I think if he did come to the team, he would be a cracking addition to the team, but not with all the baggage that Crystal Palace is sticking around him. It's not worth it.
All right, Pablo, thoughts on this saga? We can call it a saga now. It's gone on for quite a while.
I think with the length of time it's gone on, I think clearly there's a huge interest from Eddie and the club. For me, I'm the opposite to the lads. I think the position that we're in, we've got to accept that this is going to happen to us on every deal. And if it is right that we have got money bags coming out of our eyes, just release the purse strings a little. That Gay was arguably England's best player at the Euros by some people. So why not just take a leap of faith? He's obviously got quality. He wouldn't be playing for England in a final if he wasn't quality. That just doesn't happen. He's a decent age. He's English, and for me, people like Shah, they're going to be moved on next season anyway. Shah is coming towards the end, so get Gay in, spend a bit of money. I've actually got a different idea. I think what we'll do. Listen to this. Listen to this one. Raheem Sterling on loan and Trevor Chalobah. I'm not saying that's what I want because I don't like him, but I'm saying I've had a premonition, Barry.
Please don't have any more.
He's not a fullback either. Premonition. I'm telling you, it's come to me. But no, I think Crystal Palace are notorious for doing this because they are literally a bypass club, aren't they? It's where they've had 5 or 10 down the years, and it's the same scenario every time. So I think we've just got to go for it, stick a fork in, and say, right, come on, let's have you. Because he's a decent age. We're not, it's not as if we're taking a chance on a kid. It's not as if he's past it. He's prime time, ready to go, England team. Which again, if we're looking at getting in Europe, he fills a quarter of an English player as well. It's kind of a win-win. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost us a few more quid, but we've got to accept that's going to happen on every deal we do.
Okay. Thoughts on this one, Alan? Mark Gay? I mean, he's he did have a good Euros. There's no doubt about it. The price though has gone up and up, and it's got nothing to do with the player for me. I think most of us are just sick of the chairman, who seems to be, making his mouth go and desperation. I think from his point of view.
Well, what I take about it, for starters, is how professional we've been in Crystal Palace, unprofessional. And that's great credit to us. If we walk away, there'll be no slight on we're trying. I'm in both camps, actually. The lads and Pablo have made some great points. I would love him to come. I think his attitude is first class, seeing him on the TV. But is he worth 65, 70 million? Definitely not. We'll get our trousers pulled down. But as George mentioned, one of the points he mentioned about, worth to the team, I think it'll be a great addition. And I think it'll really help the squad because, as Saturday showed, we're flat and we needed 2 or 3 more signings in. But how much is our budget? It was just 65, 70 million. Well, we'll have enough to get a right winger in as well.
We didn't think Joe Linton was worth 40 million, did we? And now look, you know, so in 2 or 3 years, if we pay 60 or 70 now, you know what the football market's like. In 2 or 3 years, we might be saying, "Oh, what a bargain!" You know, I know it's stupid money, like ridiculous for us to even comprehend. But how many times you see these players and then you'll bargain? Like what? But Joe Linton's a great example.
Yeah, Gordon is another one. So it's a difficult one, lads. I think the club's in a corner, not a win-win situation. But if we get the player, I'll be delighted. If we don't, we'll walk away. And no shame on the club. They've tried their best, and I admire them for it. A lot of people don't. People think, you know, but I think if we get the player, I'll be over the moon. But it's a difficult one, lads, now because we've trapped ourselves in the corner, whether we bid higher and try and get him, and also Crystal Palace are making a hell of a gamble because he's only got 2 years on his contract. And like George said, he could run that contract down and go up for free. And next year, will he be worth 60 million next year? Or not? Be nowhere near 60, 65 million. So they're playing a very dangerous game. Whether they expect Liverpool or any other club to come in and outbid with, it's up to them. But I want him here. Like, quality always comes, but he didn't do himself any justice on Sunday, to be fair. So his head's turned. Like you say, probably just like Gordon's. You know, Gordon's head's been turned with all the speculation with him with Liverpool. But get over September, he's going nowhere, and he'll be better for it. You know. Yeah. More and more quality in the squad, lads. We've got to get more and more quality in the squad.
I think Palace have gone on a fishing expedition to see whether there's another team there, and now they've realised there isn't. It's a dangerous game to play because they've now got that player whose head's been turned, who's certainly not putting the performances in, and he certainly didn't get off to a great start. He could be suffering from Euro tiredness, of course, which is definitely a thing. But I don't know. It still feels like it's got legs. But the one thing is for certain, we're going to know in 11 days' time. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Spenny, give us your views on Mark Gahey. Should we stick or should we twist and move on?
Right, I think we should go for it because I trust Eddie's and Mitchell's judgment on players because they've never played as long in the past. If they think that much of him, he must be a decent player. For me, yes, I will go with what Eddie and the scouts and Mitchell want him. I will go for him, yes. The bid hasn't been rejected, it's still on the table. The reason why he was playing wrong on Sunday, I think the whole team played wrong for Palace on Sunday because of what Parish has been saying last week in the press. That's what affected the Palace performances. Him using his own club as a media promotion to get more clubs interested in his players because one of his directors is leaving and going to buy Everton. So he needs to get the funds. I think we will get 3 in by the end of the window. For me, personally, I know I said I will go where Eddie wants to look at, but I will go for Bastoni in Italy. Yeah. I think he's the best centre back playing in the Euros for me, and he'd be a lot cheaper what we're paying for him. And he's got an Italian connection with Tonali there as well.
Is he at Wolfsburg, Ben?
No, he's at one of the Milans, I think, mate.
He's always said he doesn't want to come, though.
How would you know, mate? Have you spoken to him on the phone?
I spoke to him personally, mate. I texted him, rang us.
But like I said, that's where I will go. That's my players I will go for. I think we'll go back. I'll tell you, I think we'll go back in for Trafford, to be honest. In Rome, one of the goalkeepers will be getting in the summer and get rid of Dubs. That's where I think we'll go back on. So,
Spenny, do you want us to put you up there so you can stick the nut on Darren? Darren, fall over.
Spenny's been sent off.
But that's That's what I would do. I would trust what Eddie and Mitchell's doing because they're no more than us guys.
Yeah.
And they haven't let us down in the past, getting the signings we needed in.
In 11 days' time, lads, 12 days' time, we'll be able to relax. It'll all be over. So we won't need to talk about it.
Let's all remember, all of this paper talks come from Crystal Palace, from their chairman, not from Newcastle United. And
with George.
If they end up with egg on their face, well, they deserve everything that comes their way.
All right. So, last question. I don't want to dwell on it because we'll come to the end of the show. A simple yes or no, really, on this one. Darren asked earlier, question for the panel: are we getting worried at the lack of signings in this window, George?
Not worried, no, not desperately, because as players, Tonali's coming back. We'll not be long before we've got our centre half back. You know, we're squads slowly but surely getting back together again. Even with what we've done, the signings we've had, I'm delighted with. The young centre forward looks a real catch. And after seeing Lloyd Kelly in the flesh on Saturday, I think that takes a bit of the pressure off in the middle of the park. In fact, across the whole of the back four, because he's capable of playing either side, I gather. And when he was at left back, he looked steady as well. So no, I'm not desperately worried. No.
All right, Darren.
I would say yes, because usually Eddie Howe gets them all done and dusted by a certain time.
Do you say yes?
Yes, I would say yes. I think we're lack of position on the right side and centre half. That should have been done and dusted early on.
All right. Okay, Spanny.
What was the question?
Are you worried about the lack of transfers with 12 days?
No, I'm not. Because the same team got us in fourth place 2 years ago. Same team got half a team last season and got us into seventh place last season. And now we've added more cover in them positions. So I'm not worried, no.
Okay. Pablo?
I wouldn't say worried, mate. Probably slightly disappointed, but not worried. Probably to back up what the boys have said. At the end of the day, we've got a good core. I'd probably like to have, just as a fantasy football fan, like to have seen a couple of exciting signings come in. But no, I'm not worried, mate.
All right, Ferriel Max, good to see you. What worries me is the teams around us are getting stronger. It's a good point. Alan, are you getting worried about the lack of transfers? You've had a bit of tete this summer with Stu, which certain people in the chat like the wine things, like the wine.
We've got 70 million to spend, Steve. We've got 70 million to spend and not 60.
Yeah.
So we've still got 70 million to spend on signings, so I'm not worried at all.
You're not worried? Okay. And Barry?
I am. I think we've huffed and puffed and we've said we're going to improve the squad. And yes, Kelly's looks an okay player. He's a free transfer. The young kid looks a diamond in the rough, but he was 10 million. What else have we done? I think the comment there in the chat says it a mile away. Other teams around us are spending bigger, improving their squads. For me, we are 2 or 3 injuries away again at the minute from having a real struggle this season, and we haven't improved anywhere really. Is Kelly better than what we had at centre half? No, I think the centre halves we had are as good as him. The young striker I like, but I think he's unproven. I think it's going to take a couple of seasons to get him up to the ability that we want. I'm disappointed. I mean, we keep saying, well, Hall's a new signing because he's been finalised and Tonali's coming back. But for me, this was the season to show something for PIF to say, right, this is a statement. We're bringing in this, and this. And at the minute, they've done now, Steve. Nobody's come in who's actually a thingy signing. You know what I mean? I was really hoping this season we would do that, and we're still waiting. I'm hoping, the guys have said, we've still got however many days to go, but I don't have much faith in Newcastle leaving it till the last minute to bring people in. The last few seasons, we seem to fall on our face in the last couple of days.
All right, it'll be interesting to see what happens. You would imagine that Trippier's going to stay now that he's been given the vice captaincy. So we will wait and see. As I say,
I'm very surprised by that, Steve. I would have given him the Burn vice captain, to be honest.
Well, he's clearly staying maybe till January. Like I said, there is another transfer window. We do get obviously hampered by PSR. Newcastle have still got business to do, I'm sure, in the next 12 days. It'll all start unravelling, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks. That's it. End of the fans forum. Oh, you've painted it.
Oh, it's painted. First time since 1955 it's been painted. That's my confidence.
Hold on, George.
Hey.
Let's put it up, George.
George. Yeah, rattle done.
Rattling.
Very good. Hey, you've made a cracking job. Well done, George. Great stuff. George's rattle goes back to the 1950s. Fantastic. Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a pretty cool time, yeah. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'm back 6 o'clock tomorrow with talk of the Tyne. Wednesday sees the return of Geordie's here. Geordie's there, which is where you'll find Thomas and Marcus this week. And we'll also have... Well, you've been promoted, yeah. Not promoted. But yeah, they'll be there Wednesday. Thursday night will be me and Supermarket Gibbo's working, and Friday night will be the Three Amigos. So plenty coming up. Don't forget as well, subscribe to the fanzine. Get yourself a newcastlelegends.com. 20 quid for 4 issues. Some great articles already winging their way in. So thanks to everybody who's contributed. And the long stand tickets are available at newcastlelegends.com as well. Again, for Dementia Matters, priced 15 quid in advance because they're 20 quid on the door. newcastlelegends.com to support Dementia Matters. See you tomorrow night, folks. And thanks to Barry, to Alan, to Pablo, to Spenny, to Darren, to George, and to Kev, who was with us earlier.
I'm on holiday next week, Steve, so I won't be on next week.
Okay, mate. Have a good time.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Take care.